Hey everyone, Nero here, and I'm bringing you YouTube's favorite content, a tier list. A Risk of Rain 2 tier list. Today we're going to be going over the monsters of Risk of Rain 2, which ones I think are my favorite from S tier to remove this MF from the game right now, meaning that they're absolutely garbage. So I just want to state right off the bat that this is just my opinion. It's like based off of whether I think their design is cool or whether they're fun to fight or just really, really annoying. This is not to be taken seriously in any manner other than we're having a fun time. So you know what? Let's get right into it with the Alloy Vulture. So these guys they're not too bad. They're another flying enemy. They're kind of annoying when they are overloading or flame aspect, but honestly, they're just pretty middle of the road. They're a solid B tier. They're not low enough to be C because they're not super annoying unless they spawn in a swarm. Next up, we have the Alloy Worship Unit, and it's a solid C tier. I really hate the fact that they spawn the Soulless Probe cores, so it drops them down from B to C just because they spawn that. Next up is the Alpha Constructs. I hate these MFs on Sulfur Pools. They just spawn way too much. They don't hit anything sometimes, but there's just always way too many of these guys, and they just send their projectiles all over the place, and it starts to clog up the screen. So they're D tier. They're not annoying enough to remove, but they're not good enough. They're not fun to fight. They literally just sit still. They sit still. It's like, come on. Next up, we have Aurelia Knight. It's another C tier, just because you have to go completely out of your way to get to him, and he doesn't drop the best loot. I mean, he just spawns Aurelia Knight for you, which I mean is cool in aspect, but he's slightly cooler in design than the Stone Titan, just because of his because of his design, his gold exterior, the different shape of the body, and also his different attacks. Instead of just the shoot up attack, he has the little spikes that come out of the ground. So honestly, you know, instead of C, he's a B tier. He's going B tier. Next up, we have the Beetle, everybody's favorite, the Beetle. He's a C tier. There's not much to say. Very middle of the road enemy, doesn't do anything. Then we have Beetle Guard as a B tier. It's just an upgraded Beetle. It has better attacks, better health. It's just all around a more fun thing to fight, unless it's spawned by the Beetle Queen. Okay, so the Beetle Queen goes in B tier because they just recently buffed her. So now she is a lot more fun to fight. Yeah, just like almost every other boss, she stands completely still, which is a little bit annoying, which prevents her from being an A tier, but I think it's a neat little creature, and the fact that it spawns the Beetle and the Beetle Guard is a very interesting mechanic. It's a shame that it can be kind of cuckoldy sometimes, where you just get spammed by 8 of these things because you don't kill the Beetle Queen fast enough. Okay, next up we got the Bison, C tier. All they really do is run at you and they miss, so their attacks are not really that fun to deal with. You just step aside and they're done, so not really a big issue. And here we got our first remove this MF. I despise the Blind Pest. The Blind Pest is so annoying simply because it has too much health. Why does it have that much health for a flying enemy? And on Eclipse, it's even worse, especially Eclipse 7 and 8, because it attacks twice as fast. So it's even more annoying there. If it was just on Monsoon, I would move it to D tier, but just for Eclipse, it's remove this. They're just so annoying. Next up, we have the Blind Vermin. These guys aren't so bad, even on Eclipse. They're just fast. They're just annoying. They don't do anything. Like the Bison, they melee attack, so as long as you avoid them, it's no big deal. They're just not fun to fight because of how small they are. Next up, Brass Contraption. Ooh, Brass Contraptions. They kill me way too often. Even with the little hints where you have to, if you just move to one side, it won't hit you. It doesn't matter. If 8 of these things spawn, you're going to get hit by at least one ball. So it can be really, really run-ending, especially, like I said, in Eclipse. So D tier for that guy. Next up is Clay Apothecary. First A tier. I really do like the Clay Apothecary, and you don't see it a lot, and nobody really talks about it. I think its design is so cool. It's a really cool looking enemy. It fits the Aphelion Sanctuary, and it fits the Clay Dunestrider, Clay Templar vibe. I'm kind of upset it doesn't spawn on stage 2 the Abandoned Aqueduct because I think it would fit perfect in that environment as well. But overall, it's just a really cool enemy to see. But I think it's a very unique enemy, and for that, I think it gets A tier. So next up, we got the Claydun Strider. It's C tier. It's mid. Stay away from it, and its attacks are kind of cringe. But it's just like I said, it's another middle of the road boss, so nothing too much to say. Next up, we got the Clay Templar, or the Oil Man. This guy can be really, really annoying if you do not have a mobility character because they just continuously shoot round after round after round. And again, he's down in D tier because of Eclipse difficulty. Next up, the Elder Lemurian, B tier. Now, why would it be in B tier if it ruins almost everybody's run? I think the Elder Lemurian is a good upgrade from the Lemurian. It makes it a lot more interesting of a fight. The attack could be a little bit better than just 5 fireballs instead of 1 fireball, but I think it's a genuine upgrade from the Lemurian just based off of stage difficulty and round difficulty, so for that it gets B tier instead of C tier. Next up, we have, is it Gip? I think next up we have Gip. This is the second form of Gup. It's just second form of Gup, so C tier. Same thing with Geep. So Gip and Geep, they're just small Gups. They're not that cool. Grandparent, D tier. Just because of the big fire ball. If you don't kill it fast enough, you don't get away from it fast enough or behind cover, that big fireball is just really annoying. Most of its attacks are kind of cringe, and again, like most other bosses, it just stands in one spot, so it's not that fun to fight. It just exists for you to kill it and get a planula, and of course a planula is kind of garbage, so let's see, next up, Greater Wisp, C tier. It's a Greater Wisp. I hate flying enemies in this game, but the Greater Wisp, it's okay. It's the middle of the road. They're just good for getting some money, and they're really not that difficult to take care of, so it's not a D tier. Next up is the Grove Tendy, another A tier. I think Grove Tender is another unique enemy with super unique attacks. I love the chains. I love the little wisp spawns. Yes, they can be a little bit tedious, but honestly, if you have just moderately good loot, they're no problem to deal with. I really like the design, I really like the concept, I really like the unique attack patterns. So again, A tier. Now we got my favorite enemy, Gup. Gup is definitely S tier. Now before you say, oh my god, Nero, like what the heck, why would you put Gup? Gup is an infinite money printer, and he's cool. That's all I gotta say. Next one, Hermit Crab. Hermit Crab, get this MF out of the game right now. I hate Hermit Crabs. They are so annoying. No matter, you can never find them. So they're always hidden, especially on Abyssal Depths. They're not so bad on Titanic Plains second loop, but Abyssal Depths, I despise Hermit Crabs. Get him out of my game right now. We're not even gonna give him the time of day. Next up is Imp. Imp is an A tier, really simple character, really interesting attack pattern with the whole teleporting. I love to fight them, very fun character. Next up, Imp Overlord gets A tier just because of the Shatter Spleen, and also it's just a bigger Imp, so it has scaled up attack, so same tier, it's beautiful. Jellyfish, D tier, not fun to fight. All they do is fly at you and blow up. They don't really do anything. They have super low health, which is actually a bonus because they don't do anything. Next up, we got all the special lunar scavengers, so Kip Kip, Twip Twip, and whatever the other ones are. I don't fight these guys a lot, so I don't really have much to say other than C tier. They don't do anything but give you lunar coins when you fight them, so they're just kind of middle of the road. They're just big scavengers. Larva. Get this MF out of the game right now. Larvae are so annoying. Sundered Grove is so annoying with these larvae. I hate it, especially when they're aspected. So flaming aspect larvae are the worst. Flaming and overloading aspect larvae they just don't need to be in the game. They are small, they have ridiculously large amounts of health, and they are very, 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 very annoying to hit with their little like roly-poly attack. Get him out of the game. Next up, Lemurian. Lemurian is a solid B tier. It's better than the Beetle for starter enemies because they actually move around and they have a projectile attack as well as a melee attack, so it just makes them better than the Beetle. Not much to say. Everybody knows Lemurian. C tier. Lesser Wisp, mid-tier enemy. All it does is float and follow you around and shoot really weak attacks. I like how little health they have. It makes dealing with them a breeze, but if too many pile up, it becomes difficult. So it's not too difficult to be annoying like D tier, and it's not too cool to validate C tier. Next up, the Lunar Balls. Remove this MF from the game immediately. I hate the Lunar Balls. They are very annoying, and it's not because of their attacks. It is just because of the flame pool. If you ever have to do pillars, remove pillars, by the way. If you ever have to do pillars, these guys are the worst. They just blow up in the pillar zone, and you can't stand and charge the pillar for like 30 seconds. It slows the game down so much in an already arduous task of pillar charging on the moon. So just get him out of here. Next up, we have the Lunar Tank. I actually really like these guys. They're very unique design, and I love the way that they skate around, and they're not too annoying to deal with like the other Lunar Chimera, so I think they're a good fit for moon enemies. Then we have the final Lunar Chimera, which is the flying shooting guy. The flying guy, very, very annoying with his little, not so much the needle attack, but the ball attack, because if you didn't know, the ball tracks you. So the fact that it tracks you is infuriating. It's infuriating, so D tier, but not a D tier, like, not enough to remove him. Magma Worm, we love the Magma Worm. Very cool, very unique. I love it. He's a cool little guy. Not much more to say on it. Mini Mushrooms. Mini Mushrooms are annoying as hell. No more questions. Mithrix, S tier. Really, you can't get a better boss, a more fun fight than Mithrix. It really is the peak of the game, and the whole reason I play Eclipse to begin with is just to fight Mithrix. It is so much fun. Yeah, Eclipse makes it super difficult and annoying, but still, I really, really enjoy the Mithrix fight. Well done. Overloading Magma Worm. Super cool design, complete upgrade on the normal Magma Worm, and it drops a really, really good boss item, S tier, no questions. Plus, I really love the color swap design of the blue glowing and the black. It just looks so fresh. Then we have the normal parent, B tier. It's just a normal enemy. It's better than a lot of the other melee enemies, so it gets upgraded from C tier to B tier. Then we have the normal scavenger, A tier, because of its item use and the fact that if you kill one, you get to loot items from it. So I really enjoy that they can pick up items, utilize them in their kit, and they don't spawn super early, so you don't really run into them until you're already pretty buffed up, like on your second or third loop. So I really love them. They're a great enemy. Soulless Control Unit, C tier, same reason, Alloy Worship Unit. I don't like that they spawn the other probes, but they're like not too bad. Then we get the probes. I hate these guys. They're definitely a solid D tier. Not enough to remove them from the game, because all you need is 2 or 3 repulsion plates, and their attacks basically are meaningless, but they can be a little infuriating, especially on Eclipse. Stone Golems. Stone Golems are B tier, just like the Lemurians. They're better than beetles and the other starting enemies because they have a variety of attacks, both a melee and a ranged. They're just a little bit slow, but that's okay because it fits their design and they're really cool looking. Next up, we have the Stone Titan. I'm going to put him in B tier. I really like the Stone Titan. He's very easy to fight because he stands still, and he has cool, unique design. Just Aurelia Knight is better than him, which is why Aurelia Knight is kind of closer. Well, it doesn't matter. They're in the same tier. Aurelia Knight's better than Stone Titan, but not by much. Void Barnacle's D tier. They don't do anything. They sit there and they shoot you like a little turret, just like the Alpha Constructs. So they really don't do anything, but they're not annoying either because they don't do like any damage. Then we got the Void Devastator, Big Crab. I don't really fight this guy too much. I don't get a lot of Void events because I don't loop a lot, so getting a Void boss to spawn like the Void Devastator is very difficult and doesn't happen, but I do really think he's a sick design. I love the design of the Void Devastator, so solid B tier. Then we have Void Infestor. The Void Infestor, get him out of the game. I despise the Void Infestor. Not because I think it has a super unique ability, I just really, really, really hate that it has so much health. It's tiny and it has a ridiculously large amount of health. It should be one shot. It should 100% be one shot, no questions asked. Then we have probably one of my favorite Void enemies, the Void Jailer. Cool lobster guy. No more questions, just cool lobster guy, I love it. Then we have Voidling, the boss. Voidling is B tier. I'm sorry, he just stands still. He has some cool attacks, but honestly, you compare him to the other final boss of the game, Mithrix, and it's really no competition. I would put him in A tier if he had more variety. Like, honestly, if he was just a little smaller and he moved around, it would be way more fun of a fight. But just like the other bosses, he just stands still and doesn't do anything. So your only movement is to dodge his attacks, and it's not that bad. Next up, Void Reaver. Void Reavers, once again, B tier. They just exist. I really think they're cool looking, but they don't really do anything for attacks. They just drop a little void ball on you, and if you get hit by 3, you're constricted. Oh, boohoo. The only cool thing is that they explode when they die, and that doesn't really do anything for in terms of combat enhancement. Next up, Wandering Vagrant, C tier. It's Wandering Vagrant. It's really annoying to fight if you do not have a character with any jump boost or jump mobility, so it's very, very, very difficult. Well, not difficult, it's just annoying, but not too annoying to be D tier. And then finally, the worst boss in the game by far, the Zai Construct. I hate this guy for the same reason as the Wandering Vagrant. It flies, so if you have a character with no vertical mobility, you just can't mess with it. So if you're playing like a bandit or, you know, accurate or something, it's like really, really annoying to deal with. Not impossible, not remove him immediately, but he's just a really annoying enemy, and it does way too much damage, and then when it shields itself, it's just even more annoying. So the fact it's a highly mobile flying enemy is just really, really drags it down. But that's it. That's my tier list. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Risk of Rain 2 content. Have a good one.